Welcome to Turtle Talk. This is Morgan's story and the family's journey. I'm Craig, and
I'm Michelle. Welcome.
okay. Welcome back to Turtle Talk, and we are getting to the end of 18. I know we've covered a couple things in 2019, but we're December.
Yeah, we're about
18.
December of 18.
Yep.
You know, Brendan's gone. We're hoping he's going to come home for Christmas.
Tom's in Chamberlain teaching.
Tom's in Chamberlain teaching. And then Tom goes to his reserve drill and gets told that you are deploying for a year. Actually, not deploying, he's mobilizing. I guess there's a difference. To me, he's leaving. So he's going to leave for a year in February, and he's going to go to Fort Hood for a year. And wow, that was, how am I going to do this solo?
Right.
Right? Like, there's no dad coming home at the end of the day or even on the weekends. I mean, I'm granted, we're used to him being gone during the week. But he just finally goes back to work in August, right? After taking all that time off with Morgan, and he goes back to work in August, only to find out in December he's got to leave for a year, so now he's going to miss more time. And how am I going to handle all of Morgan's cares? How am I going to do this on my own? I mean, I have some help, right?
How old are the triplets?
The triplets are, oh gosh, they got to be like 16, 17. I don't even know.
So if you have to take Morgan to appointments at Mayo or wherever, they'll be okay.
They'd be fine on their own.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, because, yeah, they're like 15, 16. So it's like, oh my goodness, what next? So he's going to leave. We get this news. We're waiting for Brendan to come home for Christmas. You know, Christmas wasn't quite the same because you have this mobilization for a year looming, just hanging. At least he's in country and not out of country. So we're thankful for that. You know, I'm thankful for his job that he has in the military, because it keeps him more stateside than overseas or in hostile territory. So, you know, he did his time in hostile territory. I'm very glad for his time in the States being a trainer. You know, so now we come up with another new normal. Like, our whole life since Morgan's accident has been, what's the new normal going to be next?
Right. What's changing now?
Right? What's going to change? Because the normal never stays normal. That's for sure. So we're lucky if we get a normal longer than 6 months, right? So we get through Christmas. I did a New Year's reflection, and it's hard. It's hard to try and be positive all the time. And I really strive to be positive for my other kids, for Morgan, for my husband, for my sanity. You know, I always try to find the positive in every day, right? I really, really feel like that's a must. Find the positive, don't dwell on the negative, and, you know, God will walk you through it. I keep telling myself, if God brings you to it, he'll bring you through it. And I have to remind myself of that daily. I do, daily, you know. And I spend a lot of time on the phone with Deacon Jack, with our dear friends down in Lincoln. You know, I spend a lot of time talking to them, and they help me pray through it instead of being angry at the world, you know. And there's a lot of crap, and there's people who are way worse off than we are, you know. And I try to keep that in perspective when I feel sorry for myself or for our situation. I try to remember that there's other people struggling just as much or more than we are. So I need to count my blessings you know. Morgan's still with us. Yes, this is going to be tough with Tom being gone, and I'm handling the kids and all their school activities and Morgan and all of her needs. And some days, though, it gets overwhelming. You know, and I never want to see my kids, I never want my kids to see me having a complete meltdown. You know, that's not fair to them because then all of a sudden they become the adult in the situation where they have to comfort me. And that's not how it's supposed to be. I'm the mom. I'm supposed to take care of them, not vice versa. At least not till I'm really old, right?
Right.
You know, so you find ways like, oh, I'm going to go weed the garden quick. And I spend more time down on my knees praying and crying than I actually get garden weeded. And I don't even know why I have a garden because let me tell you, for the last 8 years, it's been super unsuccessful. Yeah. I think the birds and the rabbits get more of my garden than I do, or it just takes off and I have tomatoes everywhere and I just think, I'm a hot mess. My life's a hot mess. And somehow I managed to keep on trucking. So I'm at New Year's and I'm reflecting on my, politely put, shit show of a life, because it is, you know. And I think the only thing I have control of is faith.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to keep praying that faith gets us through every single day. And it just, so I'm overwhelmed with all these what ifs. Tom's leaving. What if I need help? What if this? What if that? You know? It's a long, long list of scary things that could defeat us, defeat me, defeat the family. But yet somehow after my little meltdown at New Year's, I thought, we're going to be okay. You know, you just have your little moments. You cry in the shower. You cry at the garden.
Cry in your car.
I cry in my car an awful lot. I bang the steering wheel. I'm surprised my one car didn't have a bent steering wheel because I'd grab it like this. And I'd just be so tense. And, you know, it works itself out.
Yeah.
You know, so here we are now. Tom leaves in February. And this was when we get to the external fixator. We see the doctor for the first time in February of 19. And then shortly after we have her surgery. And luckily, because he's stateside, he could fly home quick for the surgery, be there with me. Because those surgeries were so long.
Yeah.
So long. Oh my gosh. Like over 6 hours, you know, and it was tough. It was tough sitting there and the doctor's like, go get lunch and then come back. We'll call you. Dude, I couldn't even force myself to leave the building.
Right.
You know. So, you know, we have our first foot surgery and then he leaves and I get home and it's like, oh my gosh. Here's this big metal cage on her foot, right? I don't want to screw this up. And then we have weekly visits, you know, so thank God. I was thinking about this the other day is thank God for some of the teachers that my children had and some of the friends in our life because they really picked up where I couldn't be. And Brendan had recently said to me, he goes, you know, Mom, these people are really important to me. And I finally admitted to him that I was very jealous of these people. And the ugly green monster reared its ugly head. And I said, I'm not jealous of them for anything that they have. I'm jealous because these wonderful people were able to be there when I couldn't. And the jealousy was that I felt like less of a mom to my kids because these other women had to pick up where I couldn't be. So I was failing as a mom. I'm jealous of them for for doing what I couldn't do. And it took me 8 years to admit this, that these people really stepped up where I couldn't be. And I'm very thankful. I am so thankful to these people for standing up for my kids. And here now we're back in this situation again where I'm running back and forth every week to Mayo to monitor this foot and this cage on her foot. And it's always an overnight, so my poor kids are flying solo again. You know, I guess I have to say I'm very grateful though that they had good heads on their shoulders, because it seriously could have been party central at our house every week when I was gone, and they always chose to do the right thing. I'm super proud of them for choosing to do the right thing and not becoming delinquents in mine and Dad's absence. You know, God did something to help me through this, because they turned out pretty damn good, all
Yep.
things considered, that they had to go through.
Agreed.
You know, so we're finding our new normal. Tom's gone. Thank God for our oldest son, who was close, because we're still in winter. And how do I mean, yes, I have the triplets at home, but they have to hop on the bus or get to school early. And I'm left with, oh, I have to scoop snow. But thank God for our oldest son, who would always come in with his little machine and snow blow everything and make sure I was good. And, you know, everybody just chipped in. And it's, as a parent, I'm very proud that Tom and I really must have done some stuff right to have such amazing kids.
Yeah.
You know, and all this adversity and uncertainty, they're some pretty strong kids. So finally comes summer, and we were really missing Deacon Jack. You know, I spoke with him a lot on the phone. He had flown in sometime in 18. He flew to South Dakota and came to spend some time with us, and it was wonderful. But with his age and his health and stuff, you know, we decided that we'd like to see each other at least once a year, if not twice a year. And I was really due for a break, so I said, kids, let's go to Boston. And they're like, what? So we loaded up in June and went to Boston. Oh, what beautiful country there. Like,
Yeah.
very beautiful. And they don't live too far from Plymouth. And so we got to go experience Plymouth, you know, the big ships and Plymouth Rock, and it's a different world in Boston. And then we got to go on the Freedom Trail in Boston proper, and you know, there were just, what an adventure, like with the kids. That was a lot of fun. And my cousin ironically happened to be there with her child going to Boston Children's Hospital, so we were able to take both of our disabled children and do the Freedom Trail together and just cry. Had some mom cry moments there. It was okay though, you know. And it was fun. And then we spent a lot of time with Deacon Jack, and while we were there, he had a special healing service at church for her, and I was in awe of the number of people that were there for her that we didn't even know. But he asked people to come and pray over Morgan, and he told them all about Morgan. And he did his healing service on her again. We're still praying for that miracle. He is bound and determined to get Morgan a miracle. And it was humbling, you know. And then the healing service got over, and there's all these people swarming Morgan. And I took some pictures of this because they all put a hand on her, and they're all praying together over her. And I just thought, wow, if more of the world could just be like this, what a great place we'd be in, right? Like,
Yeah.
it was so beautiful watching this whole healing. And you could tell, like, there was healing not just for Morgan, but for other people, for myself, you know. It just makes you feel like there is someone helping us on this crazy journey, you know? I found a lot of peace. Like it's pretty crazy when you get that peaceful feeling washing over you, and I don't know if you've ever had that, but all of a sudden you get this, you just know everything's okay. Everything is right in the world because you just have such peace. And I just, whenever I long for that type of peace, when I feel the world is out of control, for myself, for Tom, Deacon Jack's like one of the first phone calls. Him and then our Lincoln group, you know, and all of a sudden I'll even send text messages that just say, I need prayers. And you can tell when that network is kicked in because that peace slowly starts washing over you and you just know that you're getting lifted up. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty amazing feeling. So at this time, we're in Boston and Morgan had been kind of suffering a little bit with eating, right? And she just projectile vomit just out of the blue. Just all of a sudden, bleh, and everything she had just ate just come flying out. And of course, we're in Plymouth. We're at this cute little outdoor restaurant, and Morgan did it again. And we got her a new t-shirt. And this had been going on for quite a few months, and I just couldn't figure it out. Well, it was later, probably 6-8 months later, where we realized that she couldn't burp.
Oh,
She couldn't burp. So as she's eating, she's taking in all this air,
yeah,
but she can't burp. So it come out as projectile vomiting.
sure.
So, you know, at some point later, 3-4 months later, all of a sudden we were sitting in the house and we had ate and we were halfway through the meal and Morgan's all of a sudden just went, "Bleh,"
Burped.
and we had no projectile vomiting. And it's like, oh my goodness, that's what it was the whole time, was she had to learn how to burp.
Sure.
But I just remember that here we are in Boston, sitting at this cute little, you know, oceanside restaurant. Morgan projectile vomits all over herself, all over me. All our clothes are 30 miles away at this hotel. And, oh, good Lord. I just, you know.
I'm sorry for laughing.
No, at least I could look back and laugh. At the time, I was like frazzled. I'm throwing money at the kids and say, go buy a shirt. Find the cheapest t-shirts you can find. Get me one, get her one. Oh my gosh. It was just, oh, it was too much. It really was. We, you know, but I look back at those things and we couldn't figure out what the issue was at the moment. She couldn't tell us. And then all of a sudden it comes full circle. And it's like, oh, I get it now. You know, so that was pretty awesome. And, you know, flying to Boston, flying home, that hands down was probably the best flight going to Boston we had ever been on. I just have to sing Delta's praises, because Delta was so phenomenal
Good.
at getting us on the plane, making sure we were completely situated and everything was good before they let one other person on that plane. And there was no rushing us. They didn't care if the plane took off late. They did not care. There was so much kindness by the Delta staff, from the ticket agent to the people on the plane, everywhere. That was pretty amazing. And yeah, so I got to do my shout out to Delta for being very, very handicap friendly for people.
That's awesome.
It really was, because not all airlines are created equal, and some of them,
Yeah.
you know, but I have a hard time because I'm used to Mayo Clinic, where every employee there is super happy and super friendly and very caring, and they set the bar pretty high, not just in the medical industry, but across the board. Service, in the whole service industry, they are top notch. Like I wish more people could just experience Mayo, just so they understand how amazing that it is there.
Part of their training is the Walt Disney effect.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me.
It is. I would jokingly say, I'd ask different employees, I'm like, do y'all get a happy pill when you come to work or something? Because there's not a crabby person. And if they are having a bad day, you won't see it.
Right.
You will not see it. It is just, true kindness. And that's what we felt with Delta. That really was a great kindness moment with them, especially after some of the Hawaii trip. And yeah, United sucks. Okay, I'll say it. United sucks. Their handicap service is... United is 2 thumbs down. Delta is 2 thumbs up. So
That's good.
Allegiant is a thumbs up, thumbs down.
They're great when they're on time.
I look for differences in how do they help us to fly, because traveling is not easy.
No.
It is so not easy. And the millions of miles that I've put on the car, jeez, I feel like we go through cars faster than anybody. Driving to Mayo every week, 4 hours one way, 4 hours back.
Yep.
And going weekly during this whole Fixator thing. So,
Yeah.
it's a challenge. All new normals every time I turn around. Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it. We love hearing from you guys, so keep the comments and the questions coming for us.
Yes. Love the questions. Please subscribe. Go to www.givemorgan.org or visit me at my real estate website, realtorcraigbertrand.com. And we always want your questions, comments, like, and share wherever you listen or watch.
Thank you.
Thank you.